Hello, my name is Mike Raffin, and we're about to get phony. Phones on heads. Each one of these is called a phone. Thanks to our sponsor, Bob Keys. Now, Bob Keys has got Windows 10 Pro right now on sale with our coupon code TS25. You can get 25% off this price. You can get 25% off the prices that bundle Office 2019. You can get 20% off the multiple bundled versions of Windows 10 Pro, Windows 10 Home, 25% off whatever you put in your little basket. All the links are in the top of the description, so head over to bobkeys.com and use our coupon code. Well then, today we're taking a look at a whole pile of headphones because I know more about headphones than anyone else in the tech world. Maybe not the audio world, but I swear to God I'll fight them if they say otherwise. So Antlion, they've got a new bundle deal. The headphones that they selected, they must be pretty good because I've got some demos right here to show everybody. So what we're going to do first is just do a quick overview of the microphone that you're going to get. There's a couple different varieties of microphone. You can get just the regular mod mic. You can get the wireless mod mic that has the the little bit of bigger unit, it's a battery, and you can also get the USB mod mic, which is what I'm using right now. That's why I've got these headphones on. They're not available on the site. All these are. Just so the entire video you can hear what it sounds like. You have a couple different ones that you can choose from. First, let's switch it over and let you hear what the Omni sounds like. Now you can hear it back here. I have this little bend on the back. I'm sorry about the mic being farther away, but there's a bend on the back of the unit that allows you to move your head around without the cable creating too much drag. Then we have a mute button right here, so I can then unmuted, and we're all good to go. And then what's special about this microphone is the fact that it's USB, so you're not going to be beholden to the weird audio properties of your strange audio inputs on your motherboard. Maybe they're great, but they're probably not, unless you get like an ARC 2 or something like that and plug it into a dedicated DAC or a dedicated little USB piece of hardware or something that's just a high quality audio input. There's no guarantees it's going to be that good, but with USB, it should sound exactly the same on every unit. So I like using the Mod Mic USB. When I first saw Mod Mic years and years ago, I was like, oh, when this is USB, it's going to be really awesome, and now it is. Okay, let's talk about headphones. We have a lot of different units here. So the most inexpensive option is also one of my favorites, and that's the Superlux 688B. These have a very similar fit and feel to like an AKG set of headphones, and they're also open back on the side, so you have a really beautiful big sound stage with these, and they sound really crystal clear. Now the 688s, I have the 681s as well, which are like a slightly less expensive version of these. These have better bass, but the other ones might have slightly better treble. Some people consider them harsh, but I like a little extra treble, so just so you know where I'm coming from, I don't like extremely over-the-top boomy bass like you get with Beats or some of the, I guess, more hi-fi sets of headphones. But these are good enough that you could use them for analytical purposes like editing and stuff like that, doing sound production. But the price on these is pretty low, so I like this as a first choice. The one thing I'll say is they're pretty comfortable, but I like to switch out the ear pads for some. They're pretty much compatible with a lot of the AKG stuff, but you can look that up online and then get some like velour head pads if you're feeling bougie. Next up, let's take a step up here, and we have the 480i from Ultrasone. Now these are German headphones, and these remind me a lot of like the Sony 7605s as far as the way that they move and the way that they can fold down quickly for easy storage. They're extremely adjustable, and they do have quite a bit better build quality compared to the Superlux. Now, as far as the sound quality goes, I don't think they sound as good. That's a bold statement for headphones that review very well, but they do sound extremely good. They have possibly a less flat frequency response. I haven't seen a frequency response curve for this anywhere on the internet, but I'm going to go ahead and take a guess. Actually, you know what? Let's have a little fun. I'm going to open up Fubar here. So just for samples, I installed Fubar because I wanted to just bring up this and show you what I think that the Ultrasone 480i sound like. So I think they kind of sound a little bit like maybe this, and then that's a little bit high, but I think they kind of sound like this. You got a little bit in the mids, a little bump, and then you got a little bump in the lows. That might be because these are very closed. and they do clamp onto your head with some force, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But I think they kind of sound like this. Now, this is actually very good for gaming, because with a little boost in that area of the mids, it's going to make vocals, especially in the talking ranges, nice and crystal clear. You're not going to get any sibilance with the S's and the stuff, because it's not going to ring out too much. But they do, for some reason, have a very almost cold and analytical sound. And then down here in the bass, it's a little bit up for like explosions and stuff like that. That's what it sounds like to me when I'm listening to these. Now let's talk about the comfort on these, because in my opinion, wearing these for more than a couple of hours can be a little weird. I wear a 7 1/4 hat, so that's, for instance, my hat size. The clamping factor on these is stronger than any of the other on the desk. In fact, it's pretty strong. It's like a head vise, and I even tried to do a little bending here and stuff like that. But out of all the headphones that I have, and I've got like 15 pairs of headphones, these have the strongest clamping factor out of any of them. The benefit for that is you have a nice seal on your head. You don't hear a lot of background noise and stuff like that. They're not that warm because the pads here, this is not memory foam. The foam is more firm, but these do create a lot of firm pressure on your head. And if you're someone who's sensitive to headaches and stuff like that, these might be a little tight, in my opinion. But if your head is smaller than mine, might not be such a big deal. Overall, these sound very good, but not quite as good as the other things on the menu. All right, so let's move right along here and take a look at what else they're offering that I happen to have. So for a little more money, you can get the DT990 Pro. So this is a very awesome bundle, because the DT990 Pro, this is the premium. Ignore the fancy stuff. This is the 990 premium. I'm wearing the 880 premiums. The difference in the premiums is there maybe a little less clamping factor, but otherwise the actual cans themselves and the drivers are the same. I also forgot these are 40 millimeter drivers, so and 20 to 20,000 hertz response range. One more thing before I move on. Ridiculously short cable, but a ridiculously long extension cable. So there's that. I wish the regular cable was a little bit longer and the extension cable was a little bit shorter, but it is what it is. And I like the fact that we have detachable cable, but it's detachable halfway down. Whereas this one, the cable's detachable right here. So that's cool. Anyway, moving on to these. I wasn't supposed to do all these headphones, but I happen to have them lying around. So I told Mod Mike I'd be mentioning one of the headphones, but I ended up mentioning a lot of them. The frequency response on these is 5,000 to 35,000 hertz, and that's beyond the human hearing range, but that just means that these speakers have greater potential than some. People say that these things have sort of a studio reference quality about them, but not quite. The DT990s do have a little bit more bass, slightly more hi-fi sound, but you'll notice a little bit more nuance in just about everything. Whereas with some of the other ones, you might say like, oh, that's a violin, and it sounds pretty good, and it sounds like they recorded it in a great hall or whatever. And then you'll listen to this one, and you're like, oh, it sounds like the violin, the guy playing it, his bow is some of the strings have come loose. It's like you'll get that level of detail with these headphones. And I think the Beyerdynamic headphones are extremely good for long sessions because of how comfortable they are. They've got this really soft memory foam velour on here. So I highly recommend the Beyerdynamic if you can jump up to that price range. They do sound very good, and then you just pick your mod mic to go with it. And then also, if you want closed back, the DT770 Pros are a very good set of headphones. These are open back, or they're semi-open back, meaning that they're going to give you a big sound stage. You'll be able to pinpoint your enemies very easily. You don't need surround sound or any of that nonsense when it comes to gaming. You just need good headphones. You've got 2 ears. These are 2 speakers. And if the game is spatially correct as far as the 3D environments go, and most modern games are, especially if there's a headphone mode, turn that on, you'll notice that you could really pinpoint things. And with open back headphones like the Superlux and then also the Beyerdynamic, it's very easy. A little less so with these, because when you have closed headphones, the sound stage is what they call it. It doesn't sound like it's as expansive, but it still sounds very good with those. Now the DT770 Pro are also closed. I think they have a slightly bigger soundstage than these, slightly bigger, and you can still pinpoint stuff, but it's not as expansive. Now the benefit is you're going to get better bass out of these. So if you're someone who wants just a little bit better bass, and also if you're in a room with other people or an environment with other people, having closed headphones is going to allow you to isolate your sound so that everybody else in the room is not going to have to hear whatever you're listening to. The only thing left on the list are the 580s from Ultrasone. Another good German Bavarian engineering stuff. I have not tried the 580s. If they're slightly more comfortable than these, I would love them because these do have a great sound, but you know. And then the ones I'm wearing are the DT880s, which are very similar to this, but maybe a little bit more designed for studio work because they're a little bit flatter on the frequency response range. They're not as flat as like a Sony 7506 or something that when you put them on, you're like, where's the bass? And it's like, oh, it's completely flat. You don't understand. Like when it's really flat, a lot of things are mixed and you don't even hear that much bass. So these are more for studio use, which is what I use them for editing and recording and all that kind of stuff. Overall, I think it's really cool that ModMic is doing this. But again, I want to tell you, like, you might here and there, depending on the sales, be able to find some of these headphones on a really good price and then come and still couple it together with your ModMic. But if it's cheaper here, I definitely recommend grabbing some of these sets together. And I think they've picked some really good headphone pairings to go with the microphones that we are listening to right here. So let me know if you're going to grab one of these bundles and let me know which one you think is going to be best for you, depending on whatever you like. My favorites are definitely the two that are on the screen right now, the 688Bs for the lower cost and the DT990 Pro bundle for the higher cost. But, these sounded pretty good too. The 480s, just that clamping factor really put the squeeze on me. Let me know what you think in the comments. I actually enjoy doing audio videos. They're much easier than doing benchmarking and stuff like that. So if you're curious about some other headphones, let me know. Maybe I'll break them out and talk to you at length, ad nauseum, about my feelings. It's different than like when you're doing benchmarks and you can just throw numbers at people because there is a subjective element involved in headphones. Like, do you like bass? Do you like treble? Do you like a harsh sound? Do you like a soft, like all that kind of feely stuff. But hey, we can do that. We can argue about it. Also, while you're online, please head over to epicpants.com. Do it for your own good. You're sitting there and your shirt needs to be changed. Well, we can help you by selling you a new shirt that you can change into. So we've been preventing nudity for quite some time now with our shirts. But we're also preventing people from having bad mice and bad mouse pads. So head over there and grab yourself a mouse, keyboard, mouse pad, and shirt. See you in the comments.